everybody. Once again, I'm sitting down on Sunday this week to do the chatter because I've been beckoned for jury duty this week, and we're going to see where that's going to take us. But right off the bat, I would draw up the chart for this week. You know, each week as I sit down and contemplate from a couple of different perspectives is what might we as a collective be in a position to tune into, and from another side of the coin, how can I be as comfortable as I need to be in presenting to you perspectives that don't just exist within this planetary conversation, but actually stimulate further consideration of aspects of really being alive in each moment to facilitate things that may not appear to be currently on the table, and yet they just might be. The image that sits behind me today, I chose it because, let's take a step back just one little bit. Each of the last 2 weeks, the moon has been in one of the mutable signs, because the moon travels about, 3 signs a week. And it's an approximate because it travels just a little bit faster than that. 2 weeks ago, the moon began the week in Gemini. There was a curiosity, shall we say, in the air that we could feel. Last week, Virgo was the sign the moon was in when we began the week. So there was a certain pragmatism, practicality that was in place to potentially facilitate a meaningful context to where our thoughts might be aimed, so that something that could be built upon might transpire. And this week, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, Monday morning, the sun will be in the waning degrees of Sagittarius. But it's still Sagittarius. Here's an aspiration to ascend. And I think that's a good way to look at the lunar energy that is initiating this week. And also during this week, we're going to have the full moon. Venus is going to shift out of Cancer and go into Leo. But back to the trees. We're in Leo season. Leo is ruled by the sun. And these trees are being pulled up to grow by that solar energy. Part of the equation. The other part of the equation is Mother Earth, in all its beneficence, is providing a lot of the physical material energy up into those trees to allow that connection to this planet that we live on, to be a part of that equation of the sun's pull and the earth's push. This is very Sagittarian if you really think about it. You know, that urge to be more than what one is. That is the beckon from the Sagittarian archetype, because there's always more to investigate. There's always more to live into. So when Monday morning is initiated, that's one of the energies to keep in mind as the potential for how we might feel our way into the upcoming week. So here it is, Monday. Venus, the planet that is going to be shifting into Leo this week, is going to be directly opposing Pluto. Pluto up there in the realm of Capricorn. In all technicality, Capricorn is it's the zone of influence that responsibility, you know. I was listening to Mark Jones earlier, actually yesterday morning, talking about perspectives on astrology, and one of the inclinations that I tuned into, this isn't necessarily from Mark, but I know he would understand, is that oftentimes our budding astrology community seeks to pinpoint a particular sign, house, or planet as being so overtly relevant to a particular event, energy, or consideration that's on the table. As I mulled this over, what comes to me is that the conversation goes a bit deeper and way more profound than that, in that while a particular house, sign, or planet has relevance to something that might be on the table, it is still only one part or aspect of the equation. Because while whatever it is transpiring that has definitely inclinations toward that particular archetypal signature, that's not the only signature in play. And it's that combination of the different planetary sign energies at work with one another that actually, and also with our own perspectives, that really far more intimately come into play in any particular consideration or situation all the time. So this Venus down there in Cancer, the sign of the ancestors, where we get our energy, our root energy from, in opposition to the responsibility factor of Capricorn, which it, rightly should be making an attempt at facilitating some level of societal direction that will be beneficial for the most. That is the integrity factor of how Capricorn might be played. Should be played? It's an option that each of us has a part to play within. And Pluto, the modern ruler of Scorpio, always has on the table for our considerations that factor of what is ready to die, what has outlived its usefulness and is ready to be composted back into the energy fold of what life might be attempting to birth. And Venus, that energy of, from the Libra perspective, others are in this equation. But also, as the ruler of Taurus, it brings in, how tuned in to you are you to what is of personal value? Where is the capacity for survival in this equation? The ancestors, Cancer, that rooted part of the zodiac, which is where Venus is right now, is asking us, do you hear what the ancestors are asking you to do? Are giving you insight into as opportunity to step up to the plate and do something that will be of benefit to your descendants. Can you see in that matrix the potential for some things that just might be appropriately released in this moment so that something new might have the energy, the resources available for birthing new opportunities? Welcome to this week. Oh, what else do we have happening on Monday? We have a little bit of a trine going here that is between Chiron, over here in retrograde Aries, and the Sun, the ruler of Leo, and the sign that is running strong right now. How are we going to play? It's an interesting consideration because from a archetypal standpoint, Aries, or the first house, first sign of the zodiac, rules the head, stands for, among other things, health. And so this trine between that Leo energy, picture those trees behind me being pulled up by that solar power to be more than what they currently are. It is in that same kind of energy that health is always beckoning to us to participate with it. And lest we forget, our connection to Mother Earth is a vital part of this equation. we might be inspired, taking a breath in from that solar energy that says, be healthy, you know. And the irony of locating health is that it is something that each of us has the capacity, was born with the capacity to facilitate. No one else can provide that for you. You are your best healer yourself. So being tuned into what in this magical planetary space that we dwell within is available for you to utilize in maintaining your capacity to be healthy. It's not something invented through the pharmaceutical industries necessarily, because a lot of that actually is an extrapolation of those natural elements of many parts of what is growing and part of this planetary sphere. Oh, enough for Monday. Tuesday comes. Yeah, you know, there's aspects forming. We have this, you know, strong aspect from Mercury over to Jupiter retrograde. Yeah, that's Mercury's in its home sign of Virgo. There's a practicality in the air of, you know, where our thoughts might be aimed. And Jupiter, the planet, it's in retrograde, it's in Aries. It's in an impulse, action-oriented sphere. And so you get these, you could have these spontaneous thoughts that erupt from within, you know, because Mercury in Virgo is more of a within sign as opposed to in Gemini where it's a without sign, actually, you know, spreading its wings and taking off. So are there aspects of inspiration that are stimulating methodology and how you're going to put things together in a unique fashion that others might be intrigued enough to be drawn to you to say, please, please, please teach me where you got that information. This is essential, Virgo, the mentor of the zodiac. Are your thoughts being organized effectively? Jupiter's energy, even though retrograde in Aries with that Aryan drive, is saying, take a chance, O mercurial thought processes. Expand the parameters of your tent. Feel that inspirational energy to just become maybe just a little bit larger than you thought was possible. Other aspects are forming. Wednesday comes around. We're brought back to a consideration with this square between the Sun and the Uranus North Node conjunction. This is happening. You know, you can kind of see the Sun here at 17 degrees, 58 minutes of Leo. So basically 18 degrees. Last week I read the Sabian symbol for that 18th, that's actually the 19th degree of Taurus, which talked about the birthing of a new continent, a new kind of energy presence, putting in an appearance. And this aspect that is taking place. Oh, wrong one. Maybe I'm not going to read that particular Sabian symbol. Yeah, that's entirely different. I'm saving it for very shortly. We'll get back to that. It was a unique Sabian symbol that I think is definitely worth the ponder. But anyway, the square here, this is a fixed sign square. Fixed signs are signs that, they set something in motion, and to be swayed from the direction that has been chosen requires an impetus, a drive that has to be quite dynamic in order to alter them from that particular chosen direction. That's what fixed means. And the Leo fixed is out there gambling, taking chances, expressing itself out into the world in as wide a variety of possibilities as it can. Taurus, remember, is value, personal value, but also security. How effectively am I tuned into the resource base, Taurus, of Mother Earth, to be able to draw upon it where required to actually facilitate an overt Leonian type solar expression going forward that, it won't necessarily make people comfortable because Uranus is in this mix. There's a drive to shake things up. But always remember that blending, shaking process has as its goal the experiencing of awakening us to options that we may not have generally been inclined to recognize. So there's a potential you can kind of see here. Yes, fixed. We may be, die-heartedly aiming in a particular direction. But also remember what I said earlier. Nothing works in a vacuum. There are other factors always in play to inspire, intrigue, excite us in our own unique way that are being stimulated by these conversations that are transpiring between these different members, not only of the universe, but of the world here where we are living now. There's magic in the air if you but sense it. And in the sensing of it, allow it to flow into and through you. This is the voices of the ancestors saying, take a chance. Awaken to the potential being that you are, spawned way back ancestrally along the way through our living expression for you to carry forward with. Thursday, a Jupiter day always. By the way, yesterday was a mercurial day, so words were going to come out. Thoughts were going to be stimulated. But now we're on Thursday, a Jupiter day. And what do we have going on here? We have this Mars, Mars, Mars. Mars is making a sextile with Neptune. It's also the day of the full moon, which will happen here at 19 degrees of Aquarius. And Venus will shift from Cancer into Leo. I'm going to start right out with, if you remember the energy that was set in motion at the last new moon in Leo, saying it's time to change your garb, change your clothes, alter in some fashion the version of you that you're willing to put out into the world. The full moon is the maximum reflected sunlight on that intention that was set at the new moon. And the question comes, am I giving appropriate girth, breadth, and attention to what it is that I set in motion at that new moon? So as a reflection of this full moon up there at 19 degrees of Aquarius, I'll give you just a little bit of insight from Dane Rudhyar's use of the Sabian symbols in his An Astrological Mandala book. The vision, a large white dove bearing a message. In the keynote, the answer of spiritual agencies to thorough, sustained, and victorious individual efforts. Herein, that dance of energies between Leo and Aquarius can take on new life. Leo stimulates or attempts to stimulate the audience into action. Aquarius could be perceived as that audience. It is group energy. And as such, where might you and your cohorts, the group that, or groups that you participate in, be excited by opportunities to broach new shores? Leo is saying it's taking chances. And Aquarius has the opportunity to say, yes, you know, I need something new. I'm tired of the same old, same old. There, you know, the beckoning energy of newness is there in this full moon saying, awaken, please awaken right now. There are things to do, and if you really consider it, it is like this T-square that's happening to this Uranus North Node with a little Martian energy thrown in to make sure that you don't fall asleep in the middle of this experiential process. Are you ready to awaken to new opportunities? Is there enough shaking going on around you to say, I sense there's something else going on. What is it, and what do I need to do in order to participate in and with it? We're in Leo season. Take a chance. Put yourself out there. This is what's being asked of us right now. So that full moon that maximum reflected sunlight is saying, wake up, take a chance, be adventurous. There are aspects of you that you've been possibly holding in arrears, not allowing them to come forth through you, that, might it be the voices of the ancestors? Yeah, it just might be. Those ancestors that lived well and died well to set in motion factors that you, as a current descendant, were intended to continue with, are on the table. And in true Aquarius full moon fashion, you are attempting to shine a light on something new that is trying to be born. Are you on board? Are you ready to do something that your descendants, 7 generations in the future, are going to thank you for? Because that's the kind of energy that's in play right now. And it's not going to abate, because the future descendants are counting on us to do the right thing. So don't let them down. Venus entering Leo. We could say, from a Libra kind of perspective, that the other has arrived into the theatrical place to present options for consideration. Are we going to, sit on our hunches? Or are we going to take the chance that Leo beckons us to do currently, with that Sun-Venus connection there that's happening through that Leonian lion perspective? Perhaps it's time to set out a roar that others will hear. Don't hold yourself back, because you're not doing it alone. For Venus, all others that are tuned into this kind of energy are definitely working with us. Those were the main aspects that this week stimulates me to talk about. And I have to admit, I never know exactly what it is I'm going to say. I have, bookmarks that tell me the potential directions it can go in. But it's really up to all of us. I can, stimulate you to take action, but you're the one that has to follow through with it in a way that only you can. Your soul directs you in specific fashion to do things that only you came onto this planet to do. I'm not going to go into the rest of the aspects for this week. You can kind of see the same T-square that I was talking about, with the moon and Saturn and our Uranus dance down here with the North Node, and a little Martian uptick is in play. And a T-square it isn't necessarily the type of energy that is easy. And the reason for that is because oppositions and squares, they challenge us. And rightly so. The energy signature of what is being asked of us currently wants us to grow in very specific fashion that will not necessarily be comfortable, but it will foment or format aspects of who we really are as soul beings to grow into a space that we came to grow into. That's all the chart aspect that I want to look at this week. Just remember, just like these trees that are searching for the right energy to come down from the sky and being fed from an appropriate connection with Mother Earth beneath us, we have that same capacity to grow. The sun beckons us to become larger, to become more of what it is our soul intended us to be in the current incarnation. And the resources of Mother Earth below us beckon our participation with it in an invitation to all of life. All that Mother Nature has as part of our team. Yes, we are a team when we recognize our part to play as aspects of this natural scheme. So that's all I'm going to give you for this week to ponder on. Please allow your soul the space to grow as it intended when it incarnated this time around. Thank you.